not Congress, not Europe, and maybe not even NATO. Tonight, the world is watching as the US president makes one of the most aggressive geopolitical moves in decades, openly declaring that Greenland will belong to the United States one way or another. And at the same time, something far more disturbing is happening in the background. America's so-called Doomsday Plane is back in the air. US military movements are accelerating across the Middle East, and new intelligence suggests that Iran may be closer to a major confrontation than at any point in years. This is not one story, it's one escalation. Trump and Greenland, when, not if. During a White House event on Friday, President Donald Trump made his position unmistakably clear. Taking control of Greenland, he said, is not a question of whether, but when and how. Trump warned that if the United States does not act, Russia or China will. And in his words, America will not allow Russia or China to become neighbors. That statement alone sent shockwaves across Europe. Greenland is not just ice and territory, it is strategically priceless, sitting between North America, Europe, and the Arctic routes that will define future global trade and military power. And Trump is signaling he's ready to move, with or without European approval. Is NATO turning against Trump or falling in line? According to a detailed report by Politico, European leaders are deeply uneasy, but not defiant. One senior European official, speaking anonymously, described what he called Trump-style coercive diplomacy. The logic is simple. Trump applies pressure, Europe resists it first, then Europe gives in. And recent history supports that claim. Trump successfully forced NATO members to increase defense spending, something previous US presidents failed to do for decades. Then came Ukraine. A coalition of European states took on the full financial burden of supporting Ukraine, billions of dollars in military aid, while the US stepped back. Even more striking, the European Union quietly accepted 15% US tariffs on most European goods just to avoid further escalation with Washington. The message is clear. Europe may criticize Trump publicly, but privately, they're adjusting to him. And Greenland may be next.
Behind the scenes, many European officials point to one event as a turning point: Venezuela. The rapid US operation that removed Nicolas Maduro shocked governments around the world, not just because it happened, but how easily it happened. No prolonged war, no NATO debate, no global backlash strong enough to stop it. To many in Europe, it proved something unsettling. When Trump decides to act, he acts alone and fast. And that fear is now shaping European responses. The Doomsday Plane returns. Then came another signal, far more ominous. After years of absence, the US Strategic Command aircraft known as the Doomsday Plane has re-entered public view. The aircraft was recently spotted landing in Los Angeles, triggering widespread speculation. This plane is not symbolic. It is not used for training demonstrations. It exists for one reason only: to command US forces during a nuclear war. It is hardened against electromagnetic pulses, capable of staying airborne indefinitely, and designed to issue nuclear strike orders even if Washington itself is destroyed. When this aircraft appears, military doctrine is clear. The world has entered a maximum alert phase. Why now? The timing is everything. The Doomsday Plane's return comes amid rising global tensions, especially in the Middle East. According to the respected open-source intelligence platform Visionaire, the United States is closely monitoring developments inside Iran and appears to be preparing for large-scale military strike scenarios. One key detail stands out. A U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker, used for mid-air refueling during combat operations, was tracked flying from Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar across the Persian Gulf and Iraqi airspace on an undisclosed mission. These aircraft are not used casually. Their deployment strongly suggests operational simulations or preparations for long-range airstrikes. And Iran is the most likely target. What this really signals. Military analysts are careful to stress one thing. The activation of the Doomsday Plane does not mean war has begun, but it does mean that deterrence has reached its most dangerous level. Russia and the United States do not move these assets lightly. Their appearance signals that political and military stability is no longer guaranteed and that every scenario is now on the table. This is not a show of strength. It's a warning. One escalation, multiple fronts. Put all the pieces together. Trump openly threatening to take Greenland, Europe quietly backing down, the precedent set in Venezuela, strategic nuclear command assets reappearing, U.S. air operations intensifying near Iran. This is not chaos. It's pressure, applied simultaneously across multiple fronts. Trump's strategy is becoming clear. Move faster than diplomacy, act before alliances can respond, and force adversaries to react, not plan. The bigger question. So here's the question the world is now asking. If NATO couldn't stop Trump on defense spending, if Europe couldn't resist tariffs, if Venezuela couldn't protect its own president, who exactly can stop him now? And if Greenland is truly next, will NATO oppose the United States or follow it? Final thought. When the Doomsday Plane returns to the sky, history tells us one thing. The world is standing closer to the edge than it wants to admit. And in 2026, with Donald Trump back in the Oval Office, that edge may be closer than ever.
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely.